If Scamacca didn't know his time was up at West Ham before, he certainly does now. Here's a scenario. I mean, it's so blindingly obvious, but I'll spell it out anyway. We are 1-1 against Aston Villa. We need the Premier League win. We need the 3 points. OK, 1 point gets us out of the relegation zone, as we all suspect. That's probably enough for David Moyes. However, David Moyes knew that Danny Ings probably needed to be replaced because, let's be fair, he hadn't been overly involved. And it wasn't Ings' sort of game. There was an acre of space behind the Aston Villa backline, the sort of space you want someone to run into, or at least, you know, someone to have a bit of physicality to hold the ball up so you can then play in either Bowen or Benrahma, who were doing well against their respective markers. What David Moyes decided to do on replacing Danny Ings was not use his £35 million summer signing. His star striker. I'm going to labour the point here because it's really important we do. When David Moyes sold Sebastian Haller, and we lost, we bought Sebastian Haller for about 45 million. We sold him for 20. At a £25 million loss, he said he was going to replace him. He said David Moyes' words that he was going to be given money by the board to get a replacement. He was searching for a replacement. He couldn't find one. I say he couldn't find one. He couldn't find one that he was able to buy. We know he wanted En-Nesyri. That didn't happen. He then waited 18 months before he made this purchase. He was so careful, so studious, so diligent about making this purchase of this striker that he actually went a whole season with one striker who wasn't even a striker, Mikel Antonio. Wrapped him up in cotton wool, sent him away with Jamaica on a private jet with a couple of medics with him. He's getting the full treatment at this point, Antonio. He's getting doctors flying with him, masseuses. He's getting painkilling injections, everything. Anything just to get him playing, and so he's available. Because David Moyes did not want to waste his money. So yeah, it led you to believe that when Moyes did go and buy this striker, it would be someone that he really wanted. He'd had enough time to look at it. So anyway, we eventually go and buy Gianluca Scamacca, 35 million. Apparently turns down Paris Saint-Germain and comes to West Ham. Italian international, Italian number 9, plays up front with Raspadori, good striker. And I just give that as a backstory. Basically, Scamacca and Cornet are both returning from injury. Scamacca's spent less time out than Cornet, and Scamacca returned back to training earlier than Cornet. My point is Scamacca's fitter. Scamacca's more ready. Who does David Moyes call on in that Premier League game? His £35 million striker? No, he calls on the £17 million signing from Burnley, who by his own words is earmarked as a left winger. If that doesn't signal the end for Gianluca Scamacca at West Ham, I really don't know what does. And I pushed back, I must say, when people said to me, oh, it's going to be Haller Mark II, and there you'll be plenty of people in these comments who can turn around and say, I called it. I said this was Haller Mark II. You were quite within your rights to do so. There are a lot of people did it. Okay, I pushed back on it a little bit, and I'll tell you why. Because I thought Haller. I looked at him, and there was a lot of times Haller looked like he couldn't be bothered. He looked like he was going to run the channels. He didn't quite look like he wanted to dominate centre halves. I thought there was enough of a difference in their playing styles. I thought, no, that won't happen. Surely David Moyes has chosen this guy. I didn't believe that Moyes could be that foolish and that silly. But it does appear to have happened. And actually now, maybe it wasn't Haller's energy at all. Maybe he was just disinterested by being asked to do things that David Moyes asked him to do. Because I tell you what, Scamacca, when I saw him the other night in the European game, he looked completely disinterested. Was it the Man United? Whatever. Basically, Gianluca Scamacca's been back and available for best of 3 or 4 games now. So he brings Cornet on. And Cornet, I like Cornet. I look forward to seeing more of him. I think he looks good. I mean, I wish he'd have brought him on earlier. And I thought actually he looked better than Danny Ings in that role. In that role against that team for those tactics, I think he looked fine. But you still have to argue, maybe West Ham might have looked a little bit better by playing Scamacca alongside Ings. We still, imagine that. You spend £35 million on this 6'5" target man striker, international striker. And then what you go and do in the same year, in the same season, you go and spend £15 million on one of the best finishers in the Premier League. We can say that. I think we can say that about Danny Ings, right? One of the best finishers in the Premier League. The big guy and the little guy. That's it, right? I don't think they've played together. Listen, if they have, they might have crossed paths and been on the pitch for 5 minutes at the same time. I suspect they haven't. What I'm damn sure of, we haven't used it as a tactic to go and play those two up front. That's a dereliction of duty, isn't it, really? I'm gobsmacked by that. I am. I think that's unfathomable, really, that he would do such a thing. And particularly, going back to this game against Aston Villa, Souček was anonymous. I mean, completely anonymous. You can pick people. Look, I didn't think Agurd played particularly well, but he wasn't anonymous, was he? He was involved in the duels with Ollie Watkins. I thought Ollie Watkins got the better of him, truth be known, but he wasn't anonymous. Even Tilo Kehrer wasn't anonymous. At least I was seeing him and I go, crikey, he's annoying me. He did win the odd battle, Tilo Kehrer. There's no point me going into it. Positionally, he's awful as a right back. However, there were people that could have been taken off that pitch. You could have taken Souček on and then gone, right, okay, I'm going to play. Go for it. I'm going to play Scamacca up, play Ings next to him. I understand him not wanting to take Benrahma and Bowen off. The right choices, by the way. There you go. It's not everything I think David Moyes does is bad. It was right to keep Benrahma on. Benrahma was a massive threat to him. And Jared Bowen, or first thought was Moreno, and then, of course, it was Luca Dina on that left side. Jared Bowen's right, of course, West Ham's right. He had the better of both of them. So keep the wingers on. But when wingers are playing that well, get the big fella up there. Get the big fella up there and then get Danny Ings in the box. Too many times we were in attacking positions. There was no one. Well, someone was in the box, but they were, arriving late. Nobody in sort of striker positions. I cannot see a way forward for Scamacca now. It's terrible. Almost forget. You look at all the backing that David Moyes has had from the owners. But we've been talking about it recently, just from a perspective of his job's under pressure because of his position in the league, where he is in the league, because we're down the bottom of the Premier League. What about him being under pressure because he couldn't get a tune out of Felipe Anderson, who, by the way, is playing well now? Because of what happened with Sebastian Haller, who went straight to Ajax, started scoring goals. By the way, great news that he is, he seems to be back up at full fitness now, and that's really great news following. He had testicular cancer, and absolutely terrible. Everyone was very, very worried about him, and that is really great news to see Sebastian Haller back. But that bit aside, he left West Ham, went scoring at Aston Villa. What he's done with Vlasic, at some point you got, as the owner, you got to start thinking, you keep wasting my money, mate. Where is that? Why is he not under pressure for doing that? And that I don't understand. And now you look at it. And it's not, if it was the only time it had happened, it was just Scamacca, you might be able to think, actually, maybe it's just Scamacca he can't get on with. But I'll be saying, hold on a second, this happened with Haller, this happened with Vlasic, a Krau. Actually, we did pay quite a big loan fee for Krau, but you know what I mean? There have been a number of players, what is it with you, mate? Well, when this manager comes to you asking for money in the future, you might think, no, you are as likely to waste it and not use and not play the players that you're going to spend the money on as you are to play them. Anyway, I just found it interesting. I'm not. Look, we're at the bottom three on goal, albeit on goal difference. I did my video yesterday, which you'll have heard, which is I'm worried. I'm worried about Bournemouth, worried about Leeds, worried about a lot of the teams at the moment. Everton, find it hard to think we'll finish above Everton. All that stuff still applies. So this is not about that. This is just about watching that game and looking at a situation where we need a goal, and David Moyes already ascertained and highlighted that his striker is not quite doing it. He's got a £35 million striker on the bench. Only just signed, not someone else's signing. He's signing his choice. His choice. I mean, David Moyes even got to choose the recruitment director. Absolutely David Moyes' choice. He even said when he did that most recent, his Diary of a CEO, or it was another one, whatever. One of his more recent, one of the 4 podcasts that he's done, one of the more recent ones, the interviewer asked, what about owners interfering? What about owners buying players? Has that ever happened to you? He said, no, that doesn't work, and I don't think that would work. He very much batted it away and said, no, I wouldn't have that. So Scamacca's his player. His choice. Do I think we'll see him again in a West Ham shirt, Scamacca? Yes, I do. Do I think we'll see Scamacca again in a West Ham shirt in any real meaningful capacity when the chips are down, when we really need something? No, I don't.